Friends, it is 18th afternoon, that is morning batch, that is 9 to 12 question paper for PGTRB. The first question is Spencer's epithalamion was written for his wedding to his young bride Elizabeth Boyle. How many lines does the poem consist of? It's having 365 lines. Under which name did the collection of White and Surrey songs and sonnets got published? It is Total's Miscellany. How many books of Fairy Queen was supposed to be written by Spencer initially? 12 books. The virtue of adversity is fortitude. According to Bacon, revenge means a double risk. Name of the pastoral elegy written on the death of Sir Philip Sidney is Astrophil. In which book of Paradise Lost the following lines occur? Who overcomes by force hath overcome but half his folk. It was in book 1. Who said Milton is a sore, angry, intolerant and arrogant critic of women? It is said by Sir Herbert Grayson. The Ecstasy is a lyrical poem which propagates the interconnection and mutual dependence of body and the soul. Close by those meads, forever crowned with flowers, where Thames with pride surveys his rising towers, the above lines are from The Rape of the Lock. Dash lends the Baron the pair of scissors to cut off the converted lock of Belinda's hair. It is Clarissa. Milton himself said that they were the work of his left hand. What does they refer to? His prose. The theme of the poem Ecstasy is the union of two souls in love. Milton's literary work falls naturally into 4 well-marked periods. Identify the period which Paradise Lost falls. The last period. The tone of Dr. Johnson in Life of Milton is sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek. The theme of Milton Paradise Lost is fall of man. I.A. Richard frames that Wordsworth and Coleridge shared two attitudes to nature, which he called the realist and projective. What is the positive note with which the poem Ode on a Grecian Urn ends? Beauty is truth, truth is beauty. Wordsworth, the Prelude is an autobiographical poem. Elia is the pen name of Charles Lamb. John Keats' famous line, "Where are the songs of spring? Ah, where are they?" is from the poem Ode to Autumn. Traditional individual talent advocates impersonal theory. The famous quote, "Poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion." It is not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality. It is from tradition and individual talent. Thou hast not lived, why shouldn't thou perish so? Thou hast one aim, one business, one desire, elsewhere than long since numbered with the dead. It is one aim, one business, one desire. It is called a gypsy. Stephen Court, the Pen Queen Short History of English Literature, says that these terrifying lines show a goddess Victorian wasteland and a central Victorian modern dilemma. These terrifying lines occur in Dover Beach. Who consider his criticism is to be merely a byproduct of his private poetry workshop. It is T.S. Eliot. Hopkins in Wreck of the Deutschland makes use of sprung rhythm. In Macbeth, the scene in which Scottish Thanes discuss plans to join Malcolm, that is Sword and Macduff and their forces may be described as a unitary group scene. In Macbeth, the scene in which the Scottish Thanes discuss plans to Malcolm, Sword and Macduff and their forces may be described as a unitary group scene. The play The Tempest is indebted to several pamphlets about Bermuda, which apparition says that Macbeth shall never be vanquished until great Bermanwood comes to that is Darsayan Hill. It is third apparition. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. These words are uttered by Macbeth. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, is by Macbeth. Adrian, it must needs to be a subtle, tender, and delicate temperance. Antonio, temperance was a delicate wench. Identify the pun from the above mentioned lines. Temperance. In The Tempest, Ariel is a Hebrew name which means Lion of God. Religious and political hypocrisy, brutality and sentimentality, greed and deception are all exposed by whose vision in Adventure of Huckleberry Finn? It is Huck's. The poem Out of the Cradle Endlessly Rocking implies that death is only a natural transition to rebirth. Who among the following characters in Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea often wonders which is better, luck or a procession, and even considers buying luck is possible as a commodity in a shop? The Santiago. Who has been called the greatest of American humorists and the Lincoln of our literature? It is Mark Twain. How does Whitman visualize the new nation in his passage to India? It will combine the intellectual vigor of the West and the spirituality of the East. The Thought of Paralyte is a mystic poem. A Handful of Rice is about a human struggle for survival. Lawrence Sahib is based on the political events in Punjab during 1846 to 47. Kamala Markandeya's novel Nectar in the Sea is the best example of her deft handling of the socio-economic color. Tagore has launched an eloquent protest against onslaught of missionary on man's individual freedom in the play Muktadara. Who among the following uttered these words to Muhammad bin Tughlaq? God has given you everything, power, learning, intelligence, talent, but you are trying to become another God. It was said by Sheikh Shahibuddin. The Sheikh Shahibuddin. And next one, avant-garde movement is a revolutionary art movement attending primarily to the historical and cultural conditions of the production of a literary text. Its meaning is effect and also its later critical interpretations and evaluations is the chief concern of new historians. The modernist epic A Scots Squire by Louise Gossett Gibson presents the life of its female protagonist named Chris Guthrie. Chris Guthrie. And next one, Dash can be regarded as a second and greater renaissance, a rebirth of the moral nature of man. This Puritan movement, which pair of novelists were born in the same year and died in the same year? Virginia Woolf and James Joyce. Both are stream of consciousness novelist. Name of the founder of modern linguist and structuralism? It is Ferdinand de Saussure. Next, during Shakespeare's time, nice mean foolish. The compound particle was used in Shakespeare's works only 3 times. The American word capusitic means satisfactory in British English. During the Middle English period, English and French were spoken side by side. Ding dong theory usually associated with the name of eminent German scholar and philosopher Max Muller. A flashing eye becomes a flashing guy is an example of meta-analysis. Why does Wordsworth say about images of sentiments? It is should be wedded naturally in the mind. Images of images and sentiments should be wedded naturally in the mind. Eliot pleads for the reintegration of the following in poetry, thought and feeling. In Essay of Dramatic Poesy, Dryden's pseudonym is Neander. Keith compares human life to a large mansion of many apartments. The term mimesis refers to imitation. Who said poetry comes not as naturally as the leaves to a poetry? And it had better not come at all. It is John Keats. Dash had made blank verse supreme in drama. It is Marlowe. Faustus curses Dash for depriving him the joys of heaven. Lucifer. Sir Epicurus complains that thieves had picked the purse of 80 and 10 pounds. The Spanish tragedy is a continuation story of Geronima, who speaks the following in the play The Alchemist. This lip, that chin, methinks you do resemble one of the Austriac princes. It is face. Bunyan's The Pilgrim Progress falls under the product of Puritanism. How many poems of Wordsworth are included in the lyrical ballads? It is 19. Rebecca, who falls in love with the hero, is the heroine of the play that is Ivanhoe by Scott, who is the narrator of Wuthering Heights, the novel written by Emily Bronte. It is Mrs. Ellen. Wuthering Heights is one of those isolated books which, whatever their merits, are rather ornaments from than essential parts in novel history. Who said? The English novel by George Sainsbury, 1913. How does Shelley define poetry? Expression of the imagination. In preface to the lyrical ballads, Wordsworth defines poetry as emotion recollected in tranquility. Emotion recollected in tranquility. The polarity of men and women into the lighthouse is governed by the theoretical metaphor of the fall. The swaggering could I never thrive, for the rain it rained every day. These lines from Twelfth Night occurs in the novel Middlemarch. Which among the following is antithetical and complementary to Tess of the D'Urbervilles? It is Jude the Obscure. Who utters the last lines of the novel Jude the Obscure is Arabella. The pair of eyes that is fixed on Pip, much more than any other pair, is that of Macbeth. Which one of the following titles of Shakespeare's plays has a connection with Christ's Sermon on the Mount? It is Measure for Measure. Who uttered the following lines from Henry IV, Part 1? Come, my masters, let us equally distribute the loot, and then mount our horses before it is day. This Falstaff. Age cannot wither her. Who describes the grandeur of Cleopatra? These are Enobarbus, Domitius Enobarbus. Name of the follower of Caesar in the below list given is Priscillius. In which sonnet does Shakespeare reveals his love that he loved her in spite of his 5 wits and his 5 senses? This sonnet number 141. Who called Toro as a sort of wise wild beast is Sunborn? Which author's Nobel Prize speech is very famous? William Faulkner. Emerson in the American Scholar calls genius is always sufficiently the enemy of the genius because of over-influence. Who is Zybsko in the Hairy Ape? He is a heavyweight wrestler. Who is called as the father of American transcendentalism? It is Emerson. In which prose work does these lines appear? Your lives are mean because you do not know what is worth having in life or how to get it. It is Walden. The repetition of the words dark, light, and red in telephone conversation signifies racism. 2 distinct features of Australian poems are ironic and dialogic. Which tree gives an opulent and dominant appearance to the village center in Swayanka's The Lion and the Jewel is Woden Tree. Which element testifies the endurance of human experience and the richness of human culture in A.D. Hope's poem Myth? Who among the following insults Sidi as a bush girl? It is Lanko. Which of the following feminist works analyzes Western social arrangements and institutions as covert ways of manipulating power in order to extinguish and perpetuate the dominance of men and the subordination of women? These are Kate Mullet's Sexual Politics. Who of the following theorists call attention to the idea of power, the nature of power relations, the forms of power, the channels of power, and the discourses where power permeates? It is Michael Fawcett. The journalism that involves analytical interpretation, investigation, constructive criticism, and sincere association with the grassroots is called alternative journalism. Anita Bruckner has described her own fiction as a little exercise in self analysis. The book Orientalism was written by Edward Said. The prosodic theory of phonology is associated with the London School of Linguistics. The distribution of grammatical morphemes is handled directly by syntactic rules. Who defined that an act of speech is an utterance? It is Bloomsfield. Choose the right combination of the expression set out. It is verb-adverb combination. Linguistics may be defined as the scientific study of language. Who said the following lines? Art deals not with the real, but with the conceivable, and literary criticism, though it will eventually have to have some theory of conceivability, can never be justified in trying to develop, much less assume any theory of actuality. It is Northrop Frye. Which one of the following is the view on criticism by Northrop Frye? Criticism as a science is totally intelligible. According to Alan Tate, the meaning of good poetry is its confusion, the full organized body of all the extension and intention that we can find in it. According to Lionel Trilling, the new critics exercise their early characteristic method almost exclusively upon lyrical poetry. According to Alan Tate, which of the following statements are true? The answer is 3 and 4. The wine is a failure in denotation. Him, the light, is a failure in connotation. The answer is C. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act was passed by the Indian Parliament on 4th August 2009. The chances in one's behavior and personality implicit growth and development. The factor influences the height, color of the eye and the skin was hereditary factor. Which of the following scale is also known as appearing interval scale? Equal appearing interval scale is touchstone scale. Who is considered the founder and spiritual leader of the humanistic psychology movement? Abraham Maslow. The spread of international understanding through the medium of education in every part of the world was dedicated by UNESCO. Reflex behavior are internationalized and converted gradually into cognitive schemes. The answer is reflex. Who wrote the book The Secret of Childhood? It is Maria Montessori. Operation Blackboard Programmer's Children-Centered Approach. Purpose for giving anatomy to this institution is to promote innovations and experimentation. District Primary Education Program was started on 1994. According to Gardner, the number of intelligence are 7. Article against untouchability is Article 17. UGC was created by the recommendation of Radhakrishnan Commission. Article 45 emphasizes on free and compulsory education. In the following, which one is support and issue award to adult education program is UNESCO? The three basic types of learning: Style such as visual learning, oral learning and physical learning has been identified by these Rissman. The law of readiness, the law of effect and the law of exercise are propounded by Thorndike. Remembering the meaning of words is an example for long-term memory. Who points out the group process provides a sample of reality? It is Corey. In how many languages MMPI was translated? More than 140 languages. MMPI was translated more than 140 languages. Who is related to the system? Psychoanalysis, it is Sigmund Freud. In which year World Conference on Education for All was conducted? It is 1990. What is the reason for gender inequalities in the Indian education system? These social cultural influences. Which technique is usual in reducing the frustration of physically challenged children? It is behavior notification. Convergent thinking is the basic of intelligence, whereas divergent thinking forms the basis of creativity. The modern day distance education has a philosophical perspective based on the British Open University model. The scope of education technology is both curriculum development and development learning environment. The first school of the child is family. Who said learning is a process of making a new or revised interpretation of an experience is zero. Identify the one which is incorrectly matched. It is the answer is Perumal Malai. It is 2019. It is the wrong answer. In Pallava period, the dash were variously termed as Vari, Ayam, Kanam, Danam, Dandam, Karai and Kadaimai in different inscriptions. That is Vari, Asyam, Kanam, Dandam, Karai and Kadamai in Karai and Kadamai in different inscriptions. It is divisions of lands. Major sugarcane producing districts in Tamil Nadu are Thiruvallur and then Kanchipuram, Velum. Thiruvallur, Kanchipuram, when Velum are sugarcane major producing these districts in Tamil Nadu. And Melpat is the highest peak of Javvad Hills. Which of the following has the lowest sex ratio in Tamil Nadu? It is Dharmaburi district. Iron deposits are found in Kanjamalai region in Salem district. FCI means Food Corporation of India. Potato, tomato, cotton are example of day natural plants. Neoside will not have that is phosphate. Indian geologists found hundreds of fossilized dinosaur eggs of Jurassic era in the small villages in Ariyalur district. Okay friends, I think while we are discussing that this second question paper, second day question paper of PGTRB, I feel that this is a little bit difficult. We already saw the 3 sets of question paper and I felt that the first question paper is really easy and the second set is also a little bit difficult and this third set is also difficult. And one more thing what I want to say is here we saw that the first mark for PGTRB is 136. I don't know in which batch they got this mark and through normalization surely they will reduce the marks of this 136 into something and those who are in second and third batch may have a chance to increase their marks. So நம்ம இப்போ பார்க்கும்போது 136ங்கிறது வந்து ஃபஸ்ட்டு மார்க்குன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. அவங்க அது உண்மையாக இல்லைனா வந்து அவங்க சும்மா சொல்கிறாங்களான்னு தெரியல. அப்படி பை சான்ஸ் இருந்ததுன்னா அந்த மார்க் ரெடியூஸ் ஆகிறதுக்கு நிறைய சான்ஸ் இருக்குது நார்மலைசேஷனில். அதே மாதிரி செகண்ட் அண்ட் தேர்ட் பேட்ச் மார்க் வந்து கொஞ்சம் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிறதுக்கு சான்ஸ் இருக்குது. ஸோ நம்ம மே செகண்ட் வீக்கில் வந்து அவங்க ஃபுல் லிஸ்ட்டுமே விடுறதா சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. ஸோ ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கலி இஃப் வி வெயிட்ஸ் ஃபார் ஃபியூ டேஸ் வி வில் கெட் தட் ஃபுல் ப்ரொவிஷனல் லிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் தோஸ் ஹூ ஆர் செலக்டட் தேர் ஃபார் திஸ் வாட் இஸ் த மார்க் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அண்ட் தென் வி வில் see the CV list of the candidates who are for PGTRB. அதனால் நம்ம வந்து இப்போ நம்ம கட் ஆஃப் சொல்கிறதெல்லாம் வேஸ்ட் தான். நம்ம கொஞ்சம் வெயிட் பண்ணுவோம். கவர்மெண்ட்டே இது வந்து கொஞ்சம் நல்ல they will tell the cut off of the PGTRB. ஓகே ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ், வேறு ஒரு முக்கியமான வீடியோவில் பார்க்கலாம். பாய்.